Hello and welcome to another episode of Spotlight. Today we are here to discuss the Ashes first test, which got over on June 20 at Edgbaston in Birmingham. I have with me Sabyasachi Chaudhary, my colleague. And Sabya, how was the test? How was watching the feeling, as in, how was the feeling of watching this test match?
While watching the match, I felt like you just sit in front of the TV and not miss a single delivery. So it was such a game. There was number of ups and downs, and there was no moment of boredom in that game. And you could just sit and watch all along, just assuming what will happen, the interesting field sets and all, everything. And that partnership between Cummins and Lyon. Oh my God, Stokes must be ruining that drop catch. The one that would have been a brilliant catch. But again, that's Test cricket, and as you say that Ashes lived up to its hype in the first Test match, and if this is a trailer, then we could imagine what could happen in the next four Test matches.
Absolutely. How Australia would implement the Bazball, how England would implement the Bazball against Australia. There were question marks asked about England's ability also, but they did it and showed. Regardless of whether they won or not, they provided a brand of cricket that's so entertaining to watch, right? It was actually not one of the sporting tracks at Edgbaston. The pitch favored the batters more. There was nothing in it for the bowlers. Even the reverse swing was not there, but it was entertaining, right? And what did you make of England's approach, Sabya? Do you think they can sustain with this approach against Australia for the rest of the Ashes?
I think they shouldn't deviate from it. I think if you remember the Test series against South Africa, they lost the first Test, and that they could have easily gone into the shell, gone into old-fashioned Test cricket, but instead they stuck to it and they got the results. It's Australia, a seemingly a more difficult team, but I think England should stick to it. They got very close. On the hindsight, we could say that they shouldn't have declared, but again, questions will be raised once you lose. But again, in the last Test, they should stick to what they did in this Test match and play fearless cricket.
Perfect. Talking about declaration, to give the viewers a lot more context, England declared after 78 overs. That is the latest declaration in the first innings of an Ashes Test. And they had 393 on the board. And quite a few were surprised. Even Kevin Peterson was not able to understand what was going on in the commentary. Ricky Ponting, Nasir Hussain, Mike Atherton, everybody were taken aback. But that's how England have played their cricket, right? Under Ben Stokes and Brendan McCullum. And they defended the call. Even after the defeat, Ben Stokes was asked whether he would go back and change that call. Right. But what he said was very refreshing because, I'm not a captain who who takes hindsight and dwells on it. But I just look to move forward. And 393, maybe if they could have had 120, 30 more runs, especially when Joe Root was batting at 121, they could have gone on to win the match. But you never know. With the rain on the fifth day, you might not even have gotten a result. It might have ended as a tame draw. Absolutely. But that was a bold call from Brendan McCullum and Ben Stokes. But Sabya, what did you think of Australia's approach? There were a lot of pre-series talks, even in the first innings, when they had defensive fields, questions were asked about Pat Cummins' captaincy. But don't you think Australia stuck to their guns, played the way they know the Test cricket and won it?
As they say that all's well that ends well. Australia ended well, and it all came down to Captain Pat Cummins, the way he held his nerves. You won't be 100% throughout the entire Test match. There will be moment of lapses, but at the end of the day, how you finish is most important. And without a doubt, Pat Cummins finished it off in style.
But you know what? There is still criticism about Bazball, whether England could have played a little more sensibly. There is a lot of questions being asked on whether it's a smart approach or a senseless approach. But I do think that they added spice to this Test match. Imagine an England team of 2 years ago, say the Joe Root team that played around the COVID time. Would they have even survived 5 days against this Australian side? I'm not very sure. But I am sure that Ben Stokes and Brendan McCullum have stuck to the process that has yielded them results. Keep in mind, Sabya, 11 out of 14 matches they have won. It's not like they started it yesterday and questions are being asked about it. Like you said, South Africa set back and come back.
Absolutely.
And Lords, if they provide a spicier pitch, maybe things might change. But let's laud the way the first Test was played. After that WTC final, which was quite drab, to be frank, India didn't live up to expectations. But England and Australia provided a stunning show. And I hope the Bazball continues and Australia's approach versus England's approach, two contrasting styles, and I hope they live up to, they keep their expectations going. They have lived up to the expectations in the first Test. I hope they keep it going. And quickly before we go, Prasabya, What is your prediction for the second test and any team changes you suggest for England?
It's tough to call in because England have the issue with the spin attack. Like they have Moeen Ali who's injured, and Joe Root can chip in with an odd overs or 10 overs.
But will it be enough?
I don't think it will be enough. They need an additional spinner from outside. As I say, they have a Liam Dawson, they have a Rehan Ahmed who picked up a 5-wicket haul last year in Karachi against Pakistan. I think they should try and bring in a new spinner. Otherwise, if the pitch provides turn, then England might go on the back foot. So they have to bring in an additional spinner.
What do you tell about Jimmy Anderson? Would you have him or not?
It's a tricky call to leave Jimmy Anderson out, like Australia did leave out Mitchell Stark in place of Josh Hazlewood. So if they want to bring in a change, they might bring in Mark Wood and see, because it will be a little unfair on Stuart Broad and Ollie Robinson to be benched. So in that case, I would suggest that they bring in Mark Wood and add a new dimension to their bowling attack.
And before we go, if you want a prediction from me for the Lord's Test, I'd say England Bazballing their way out of trouble and winning the Test match by an innings and 130 runs. Let's wait and watch. We are just a week away from the Lord's Test. We'll bring you more updates from the Ashes, from the world of badminton, and also from Wimbledon lead up in the coming episodes of Spotlight.
I just want to add one thing. Back in 2019, Australia won the first test. But then again, England went on to take a 2-1 lead and then lost it. So if you want to make predictions, it's fine. But then again, it's Ashes. It's something which is unpredictable and you cannot predict, like what happened in the first test.
I am sticking to my guns, an innings and 130 run win for England. Thank you.